Netlify is a hosting and automation platform that allows developers to deploy static web applications easily and quickly. Additionally, Netlify offers a free plan that includes static website hosting, SSL certificate, continuous integration, branch and pull request deployment, etc. In this example, we will see how to deploy the Get Started project Astro from Content Island on Netlify. The first thing we need to deploy this project is a GitHub repository. We open our account and click on Create a new one. We give it a name. We can make it public or private as we prefer, because later we will grant Netlify permissions to connect to the repository. I'm going to keep it private. And we click directly on the Create button without adding any files. We copy the URL of the repository we just created and clone it onto our computer. In an empty folder, using the following command: git clone URL, and we add a dot at the end so that Git does not create an extra folder with the repository name. Now, having cloned the repository with the Astro project, we simply copy the contents of the blog and site folders and paste them into the folder we just created, and upload it to the repository using the following commands. We can see that the project is now uploaded to our GitHub repository. To configure the deployment on Netlify, we need to have an account on the platform. Once logged in on the main page, we simply click the Add New Site button and select the Import an Existing Project option. We specify that we want to deploy the repository using GitHub, where our project is hosted. If this is our first time doing it, we need to grant Netlify permission to access our GitHub account. We can choose to grant access to all repositories or only the ones we want. In this case, we select the repository we just created. Once configured, we can select the repository we want to deploy and the configuration options will appear. We choose the application name that Netlify will use as a subdomain. This one, for example. If needed, we can change the build settings, but in this case, we can leave the default ones: main branch, npm, run build, and the dist folder. And we are going to add a new environment variable because, remember, when the project build runs, it connects to our Content Island project to retrieve the data for each post. So we need to configure the Content Island secret token environment variable. And obtain the value, which is provided by Content Island in the General tab. We copy and paste. And finally, we click Deploy. This will take a while to deploy the site. Here you can see the progress as it moves forward. It starts downloading everything from our repository. It runs the build, and finally, these 3 steps complete the deployment. Done. If we click on Preview, we now have our project with Content Island and Astro deployed on Netlify.